Welcome back, dreamers, to the What's Your Dream podcast. I'm your host, Trisha Keatley. Today, we have a special episode featuring Paul Gowder, who just returned from an Alaskan cruise, checking off a major bucket list item. Paul is the founder of powwows.com, an online community celebrating Native American arts and culture for over 25 years. He successfully built his community while working full-time, creating a lifestyle filled with travel, including more than 42 trips to Disney World. In this episode, Paul will share his strategies for overcoming obstacles while working full-time, community building, and email marketing. For more information about Paul and his incredible work, visit his website at paulgowder.com. Stay tuned as we dive into Paul's inspiring journey and learn how to turn your dreams into reality. Let's go. Good morning, Paul. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. What is your biggest dream or aspiration?
For a long time, my goal, my dream was to go full time with my business, and I achieved that a couple of years ago. So, kind of that next one I've always set is, our big goal right now is to move to Florida, um, continue working my business, but be closer to the parks and the things down there we love. And I mean, really, really big goal. I'd love to just be a part-time photographer at Disney World.
That's a great dream, right? Get to watch the fireworks every single night.
Right, right.
And where are you guys currently living?
We're in Lexington, South Carolina.
Lexington, South Carolina. So what part of Florida do you want to move to? Is it Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking probably in the Horizons West, that side of Orlando. Yeah.
Okay, very, very nice. Awesome. What makes you feel grateful and full of joy today?
Oh, I mean, I have to say the lifestyle that we've created, it's always been our goal to get to this point that, that we were both full-time on our own businesses. Uh, it, we've always prioritized travel and we've been able to travel for years and we've done some amazing trips. Now kind of being in this spot where we are working for ourselves, we're even more flexible. So it's so, we were talking about it before we started recording. We just got back from a trip to Alaska that was just a bucket list trip, and we've got a couple other trips planned. So yeah, this lifestyle that we've been able to create, we're just super grateful for that.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing because I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. So I sit here and we go paddleboarding and kayaking and doing all this
Yeah.
outdoor nature stuff. And then I see these pictures from these Alaskan cruises. And just, I mean, anywhere that's not just so inhabited by people has like the most beautiful streams and lakes and oceans. And it's just amazing. So it is absolutely on my bucket list as well to go on an Alaskan cruise. The pictures, I've never seen anything like it. So I can only imagine seeing it in person.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you looked was like a postcard.
Yeah.
There were whales and eagles and sea lions, otters. We saw a bear. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. And so you mentioned going full time in your business. Tell us a little bit about what your business is.
So I started powwows.com way back in 1996, and it is a place for anyone to come, explore, experience, connect with Native American culture. And we do that through articles, a powwow calendar, and we live stream powwows throughout the year. So I started that kind of just as an experiment, learning how to do HTML, and never meant for it to be a business. But as it grew, it kind of had to start paying for itself. And then from there, it grew bigger and bigger. So yeah, that I built that and kept running that as my side thing. And my career, worked in state government for South Carolina for over 20 years and was able to retire, and that kind of helped create this opportunity that we had with a pension. That we could do some other things and retire and move on. So yeah.
Is it so are your events, are they more like spiritual or just kind of factual of Native American culture? What would you
Yeah,
say?
I mean, so we don't ourselves put on any events. We just we cover them. So there are Native American powwows are happening all over North America, US and Canada. Our calendar, we before COVID, and not all of them have come back, but before COVID, we were listing anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 a year. And they're happening in all 50 states, all the Canadian provinces. Powwows are just celebrations, and they can happen for a variety of reasons. Some tribes have them every year as just an annual event. Some host them as homecomings. Some are put on just a one-time thing for to celebrate a graduation or a wedding or an anniversary. And then lots of them nowadays are contest powwows, and so they're sponsored by tribes or casinos, and the dancers and singers can win big money. So they're open to the public. Anybody can go and watch, and it's a full cultural immersion with the dancing, the singing, the food, the craft. It crafts. If you've never been, you should. Everybody should go to one. It's pretty amazing just to be completely immersed in that environment.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to do that. That sounds awesome. I mean, you know, both of my great grandmas on both sides of my family were Native American. I think they were both
Right.
half, so I have no idea what that would make me.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like just even connecting with that culture. It's like, I mean, to me, it's like they are very spiritual. And to me, that's where I love to connect in. So I will absolutely have to do that.
Yeah. It's to go and hear those songs and to feel the music and to see what's going on. It really is a moving experience that everybody should experience one time
Yeah, and I was
or
actually
more. Yeah.
reading this book right now called Conversations with God, and it talks a little bit about how, like, the in different cultures that there are the elders actually raise the children, right? You have like the parents that are out hunting, gathering, doing all the things, right? They're working, whatever you want to call it. And then the elders are the ones raising the children, teaching them things. And I think that that's one thing that I do envy
Yeah.
about Native American culture is that it is the wiser of the, you know, of the elders that are actually like spend more time during the day with the children and things like that. I hope that that's still accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the tribe and the family, but
Yeah.
yes, um, going back to our Alaska trip, we were really, really thankful that in Ketchikan we booked a tour with a company called Ketchikan Native Tours, and so my wife and I got to spend the day with a Tlingit elder, and just to hear her stories and her sharing her personal experiences. I mean, that was one of the best days of the trip. It was a special, special moment.
Very, very cool. All right. What are the most significant lessons you've learned throughout your life and how have they shaped you as a person?
You know, I keep learning lessons, right? And um, business wise, one of the ones that I keep learning is to really engage with people on a personal level. That's something I think I do well, but I also struggle with it and I forget to do it sometimes. So it's one of those lessons I have to keep remembering. But I remember the first time I learned it in business back when before Facebook and social media, we had a forum website, and I was on the forum and I would post occasionally, but mostly I was just in the background running it. And my username on there was webmaster. And one of my friends one day said, Paul, every time you post, people think you're just this like computer
What?
thing. You're just, nobody knows that it's a person, right? And I was like, oh, that's not good. So I changed my name to Paul G on there, and then started talking like from my actual voice instead of trying to be the brand or the company. And that made a huge difference in the way I was able to engage with people on the forums. And so I've continued that now with email marketing and what we do on social media. That's a lesson I have to keep reminding myself of that lesson, but I think it's so important in business to you can kind of get bogged down in trying to be somebody else or to be something, or to be the next Apple or whatever, and you talk to people like you're the brand, and it really is personal relationships. And I think that's probably one of the most important things I've learned is that you have to engage with people on a personal level, and that's going to move your business so much further.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, I own a web design and branding agency as well. So it's like, it's one of those things. The number one way to build your business personally, I believe, is through networking and having somebody that is building those relationships. For me,
Right.
it's kind of hard for me to go to them and have this like small talk. I'm a very like deep seated spiritual person. And so it's like, you know, I usually end up in a little bit deeper conversations with other people. I went to a networking event the other day and there was a woman talking about energy and spirituality. And I was like, yes, I love this kind of stuff. And that is where you really, you know, if you can find groups of like-minded people, that's where you're going to feel like you fit in. And it's going to be
Right.
so much more natural to get the business that you're wanting anyways. And you're not going there to like sell yourself, be the webmaster or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're just building those relationships. And those are people that are going to send you other people. And then you have referral partners. And then you have, whenever I get referred business, I almost like probably 98% of the time get the job. Whenever it's coming somewhere else from Google or whatever, I mean, this as well. It's like, you're not you probably it's probably 50% of the time that you actually get a job, but when you build those trusted relationships, so super powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've started doing some coaching for building community and email marketing, that kind of thing. And most of my clients now are coming from Facebook groups where I'm actually engaging with people and trying to help people. I'm not selling, right? I'm just trying to help people and answering questions. Um, and that's where some of my clients are come because they understand that I'm actually, talking with people and helping. So yeah, it does matter. Building relationships matter.
Yeah, and I would say too, like, kudos to you, because I think all really great business owners become coaches at some point in time, right? Because
Right.
we've built this brand, we've built this thing where we know what we're doing, and then we get to a point where we're like, hey, let me help other people get there as well. And that is
Right.
absolutely, I mean, that is absolutely one of the reasons why I created this podcast, right? Is to help other business owners figure some stuff out so they don't just jump in, dive in, try to do everything themselves and then fail. Obviously, we don't want
Yeah.
that for anyone, right? Awesome. What inspires you and motivates you to keep going even when faced with challenges?
The feedback I get from our community is what fuels me to keep going. And I've been doing powwows.com now for 25 plus years, and there are times when it's really hard. There are times when I didn't think it would make it. But it's that feedback. So for example, one of the best things we get is when we're doing a live stream and we're, you know, showing people what's happening at a powwow in Oklahoma, and we get an email from a service member that's overseas somewhere, and he says, "Oh my gosh, I just saw my family dancing. I
Mhm.
felt connected to my tribe and my family. Thank you." Those are awesome. Or we'll get emails from people that say, "Hey, I'm not able to travel. I've gotten older. You helped me see the dancing and help me, stay connected and feel like I'm still part of it." Those kind of emails are my favorite to get. I love seeing those. But also, I like getting the ones that are people kind of outside the culture and they're like, "Hey, I've always wanted to go to a powwow. You helped me know what to expect. We just attended our first powwow. It was awesome. We're going to go to another one." All those kind of things are what fuel me to keep going. I love opening my inbox in the morning and seeing what kind of messages we're going to have.
Very cool. Yeah, that's definitely giving back. Love it.
Yeah.
What do you hope to leave behind in the world as your legacy? And the caveat to this question is like, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral?
Ooh. Um, I mean, the first thing I want people to say is that I was a good dad and a good husband. The business is important, but those are my two priorities in life. I'm hoping that um, I've done okay with my daughter and that she learns from the lessons and the things that I've taught her, and that she, builds a great life for herself. So that's the first thing I hope people notice. As far as business, I hope I just inspired people to explore this culture, to connect with it, and I hope that powwows.com in some way helped better other people. Whether it's, we have a directory of native businesses, whether it's we helped a business make more sales or we helped a powwow get more visitors. I hope we are just able to raise everybody up and shine a light on places that weren't getting attention.
Very cool. What is one action you take every day to get closer to your dreams?
Hmm. Something I do every day. Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, one of the things I do every day is the email, and sometimes I'm looking at my inbox now and it's full because we were just on this trip, and I've got so many unanswered, and it does feel like a burden at times. But that is something I try to do every single day, is to go in and answer messages. I mean, sometimes it takes me longer than others to get to them, but again, it's those relationships. If somebody writes me and asks me a question, I want to make sure that I give them that information. I want them to know what it is that, and find whatever they're looking for. I hate having messages sitting in my inbox and I don't get to them fast enough. That drives me nuts. So that's probably the one thing that I do every single day, no matter what. And there's that. I should have closed my inbox. The beep's going off, right? It's happening all the time. But yeah, that's the one thing I really want to make sure that I'm engaging with that audience and talking to them every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so, so important. Well, Paul, is there anything else that you definitely want to say to our listeners before we go?
I just hope that when the entrepreneurs out there, for me, we struggled, and for my family, my wife and I, we struggled for when it first became more of a business and we were having to figure out ways to monetize, to pay the bills of, because building a community, building a website, you do start having bills, right? And you have to start making decisions and try to pay for those things. And in the beginning, we weren't sure why we were doing it and why we were putting in all those extra hours, other than we were helping people, right? I mean, that does fuel us. But for us, we had to go a step further and figure out what is it for us that we want to do. If we're going to work all these side jobs, not just Powell's.com, we worked all kinds of crazy side jobs. Um, why are we doing this? And for us, it was just creating this lifestyle, like I said earlier, for travel. We wanted to prioritize experiences and being together as a family over other things. And I think that's important. You need to know your why as an entrepreneur, not just why you do it and who you're helping, but what is it that you want in yourself? If it's to build the lifestyle of travel, if it's to just be able to go and play golf 3 times a week, whatever it is, you got to find out what your why is, and then you build your goals to make that lifestyle happen.
Absolutely. And I think too, it's like I talk a lot about just what the feeling behind that why is, right? Like
Yeah,
what is that feeling and trying to feel that feeling as much as you possibly can. Mine is absolutely travel. I've always said I want to visit all the national parks in the United States. And haven't always said that. It's only been the last couple of years, really.
yeah,
And traveling is definitely huge for me, and just seeing other cultures and crystal clear water and the places that I really want to go. And so it's like the whole idea of creating that why and creating that feeling, because what that creates for me is freedom and peace.
right,
And as
right.
business owners and entrepreneurs, it's like you were struggling, right, at one point in time, and then you get to this place of, oh my gosh, I don't have to hustle anymore. I am just sitting in this flow of business that is created by those amazing relationships. And that's where we want entrepreneurs to get, right? We want them to get to that flow state of freedom and peace, because that's why we became entrepreneurs. And whenever we became entrepreneurs, we were probably working 50, 60 hours a week. I know I was. And you get to this point, it is such an amazing feeling to finally say, okay, I have my peace and my freedom. Keep it rolling.
Yeah. And we had that feeling on the trip, I remember sitting at the desk in the room working, right? You're doing your stuff because you got to keep up with everything, but turning and looking outside and seeing that just vast landscape, like you said, untouched. We were looking at land that had probably never been walked on. And you occasionally there'd be a little puff of a whale go by. I mean, that happened. We were sitting there working, and there's stuff going on right outside the window. That feeling was incredible, and we're able to do that, whether it's traveling all over it, all over the world, and having that peace, so that, yeah, we're working, but look at where we are. That was really cool. Yeah, I hope
That
everybody can
helps.
get to that place. Yeah.
Yes. And it helps when you love what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And we will have your links and all that in the show notes for everybody to be able to find you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.